songwriters. Today I want to talk to you about the concept of contrast in our songs. This is a theme that's been coming up a lot lately in the classes and workshops that I've been teaching. What tends to happen is someone is presenting their new song and then receives feedback from the other people in the room about what could be better for their song. What people tend to say these days is that they want more contrast between the different sections of the song. They want more distinction between the verses and the choruses, between the choruses and the bridge. It's a good idea. It's not a bad idea at all. So the songwriter will go home, wrestle with the song. One of two things tends to happen next. Either the songwriter finds herself in a sort of a rut, like, I can't for the life of me write something that sounds different, or else she'll write something that's so wildly different that it no longer even sounds like the same song. I had a student come back with very dark, introspective, edgy verses and sort of a throwback show tune chorus. Both were cool. The verses were cool, the chorus was cool. They just were cool parts of two different songs. So how do we do this? How do we create contrast, but not too much contrast? What I want to offer today is a completely different approach to thinking about this. I want to suggest that you guys not worry so much about the relationship between the different sections of your song. I don't want you to worry so much about how distinct your chorus is from your verse or your bridge is from your chorus. What I want you to focus on is the role of each one of these sections to the song on a whole. I suggest that you tune back in to the project of your song. What's your song premise? What's the point? What's that thing that you're trying to get across at all costs? What is that? And then what is the role of each one of these sections going to be to that greater purpose? An example could be, okay, I want my verses to set the mood right away. I want my verses to tell enough of the story that there's a situation established right away, so that there's an immersion. Maybe the role of the chorus is going to be, I want the chorus to celebrate the mood of the song, not so much establish it, but kind of indulge in it. I want the chorus to give away some of the meaning. What's the point of this? Maybe the bridge, it has to be a distinction. Yes, it has to be a departure, but in what way is it a departure? And what is the new slant it's going to be for your song premise? Maybe it's going to be a dream sequence, so the music and the language is going to be dreamier. So from that place, I think what you're going to end up with is the right amount of contrast, but not contrast for contrast's sake. It's all going to be the same song because finally you're the whole time writing in service of your song. So it's kind of a two-step process, if I'm going to just break it down more tangibly. The first part is how we set out in each one of these different sections, and then the second part is how we proceed in each one of these different sections. What's very important is that we set out in each one of these sections with this identity in mind, right? How we set out is crucial. How we begin the verse, how we begin the chorus, how we begin the bridge. If the project of the verse is to create the mood, if that's what I've decided the role of my verse is here, then it's going to be choosing that chord that sets the mood, or choosing that melodic range or that rhythmic pattern in my lyric. Likewise with the chorus, if the purpose of the chorus is to step back and celebrate, how am I going to set out differently? Am I going to stretch out my language so it feels more kind of like a stepping back? Am I going to create excitement by having the words come more frequently? Am I going to establish a shift by offering up a different chord right out of the gate? Now, the second part, it seems like it should go without saying, but this is a thing that's been coming up a lot lately. I've actually had students come back and they actually have done the hard work where their verse, their chorus, and their bridge, they all set out differently enough. They all set out as though they have distinct roles for the greater identity of this song. But then what I'm finding is people back off that right away. As a case study, I'm going to talk about a song that was presented to me yesterday. I had a student write just a beautiful verse. It was lush, and it was alluring, and it was strange, and it had a lot of dissension. It felt just kind of like a dropping inward. And then her chorus, she began her chorus, and it started out like this anthem, like this thing was erupting out of her verse. It was great. I was like, wow, you wrote a pop anthem. I didn't expect that from her, but I was in. That was cool. But the issue was that she immediately backed off it. It's like she wrote 2 bars of an anthemic chorus, and then she started writing her verse again. And suddenly it was descending again, back into the same chords and the same melodic rhythm. So it was like she didn't capitalize on the hard work that she'd done of setting out differently. And then the same thing happened with the bridge. The bridge, right out of the gate, had a different identity than both the verse and the chorus. It was sort of this insistent pattern, like da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It was like, oh wow, so the bridge is going to be this place that is more kind of pleading and insistent and unrelenting, and that could be kind of an exciting, interesting bridge in service of the song on the whole. But then again, she immediately backed off it and began writing kind of her verse again with the descending lines and the kind of more introspective chords. So the project with her was to really let her see what her own gesture was at the beginning of her chorus and what her own gesture was at the beginning of her bridge, and just be willing to go for it, to let it be what it is, to let each section be what they are in relation to the song on a whole, and to not shy away. Like if the impulse is to write the anthemic chorus, like see that through. If the impulse is to be insistent in your bridge, dare to insist. Dare to be unrelentingly insistent. Don't be afraid. It's only going to be for the length of a bridge. and then we're going to be comforted by the verse again, right? You don't have to handhold your listener back to your verse in every single section of your song. I think that's what it comes down to, is sort of this fear of letting each thing be what it wants to be, and sort of hand-holding back. I see this when people modulate for a bridge. This is a thing that happens. Modulation is wild and crazy. It's true. But if you're going to do it, you do have to just do it. And it's not going to work to modulate and then to spend the entire rest of the bridge, 80% of the bridge, kind of trying to get back to the verse so that the modulation doesn't appear to have been too wild. It's like, no, you gotta just be in your new location, be on this vacation that you're on, and trust that at the end, you're gonna find your way back home, right? As it turns out, there's excitement in having been a different place and then just suddenly finding yourself back where you were. That's kind of the thrill of these different sections that we're trying to create to begin with. So that's what I have for you guys today. Think in terms of the song on a whole, set out differently, and then notice what it is that you've written and keep doing that. I hope this is fun. I hope that you're able to luxuriate in some contrast moving forward. Okay, take care.